Hello, my people. Welcome back again to my YouTube channel where we say the real and nothing but the real. Today, let's delve a little into the stigma surrounding divorce and being a single parent, a single mother, a divorcee, a divorced single mother, a woman without a husband, a woman who probably didn't even get married but became a single mother, a woman who became a single mother by losing her husband or would be husband. Sometimes when people are in a serious relationship, they would have been engaged, the man passes on, or the marriage didn't work out, the marriage fails before it even got started. And by this time, a baby is already on the way or involved or has been born, and then you're stuck with this baby. Listen up real quick. There's nothing terrible about your situation. You can be divorced, but at least you're alive. And I'm not talking about I'm not trying to be religious here. I'm not trying to sound religious or too naturopathic or something, or humanitarian or humanistic or realistic. Okay, yeah, realistic for sure. But I'm not trying to sound too humanistic here or whatever else the fallacy falls under. The point I'm trying to make is appreciate your life experiences and evolution. There are certain occurrences that are not very easy for us to embrace, for us to accept, for us to be okay with as we journey through life. Life, remember, is a journey. And when you're going through a journey, there are times that you have to stop to get the gas or the fuel, depending on the location where you're listening to me from. The location where I'm at is called gas. The location where I was born is called fuel. And there are times when it might be a tire problem. You have to stop and work on the tire, either put in some air or change the tire all over or entirely. Or there are times when there's traffic or there's a bad road or there is a kind of blockade somewhere, either there's a road work going on, road construction, or there's a flooding, or there are bad people on the road, and you have to detour. And when you detour, it's not the end of the journey, right? But it's a kind of setback, set behind. You have to go back around and go around and come and realign and reconnect yourself to your journey towards your destination, to your path towards your destination on the same journey. There are also times that you have to take a break, like you literally have to check into a motel and pass the night, and then you get up in the morning and you continue. Or if there's any maybe plaza that's busy that you can pull up at and stay the night over there, eat, drink, refresh, and continue. And if this journey were to be like a flight, for instance, there are times you have unwarranted or unprovoked, maybe provoked, unexpected, unanticipated cancellations. There are times you have delays. There are times you have detours. There are times that you have to pass the night at a stopover, a transit stop. I recently passed the night at the transit stop. I didn't know that they had that, would I say, comfort offer, or I would call it what's it called again? Compensation. Thank you. Compensation for the passengers. It would also be my first experience experiencing delays at the airport. I missed my first flight. I got to the next flight, and it was delayed. And then my transit flight that I'm going to be, transferring over from the stop, from the transit stop, was also delayed and eventually I missed that flight because the second flight was super, super, super delayed. They couldn't wait for us. But you know what? If I had taken that other flight, my transfer flight, I would have been arriving my destination very, very late in the night. And I'm talking overnight. And I wouldn't have liked it because I would have been stuck at the airport until the morning or look for a hotel around the airport or within the airport to pass the night. So I'm glad that I didn't have to be under that level of stress and pressure. But, and of course, I'm also glad that the airline took the initiative to compensate us by putting us in a decent hotel for the night. I didn't know they had that plan, so I was stressing about everything. Eventually, they offered us that, and I took it. And on getting upon getting to the hotel, I felt really good. It was a very comfortable place. So that said, that is just how life detours can happen. And this happens to every one of us every time. But there are times when, because we are not planning for this, we haven't planned or prepared our mind or our resources, we are thrown into this limbo, shock, disarray, distrust, distress, or would I say, yeah, distress. And of course, we believe that we are disadvantaged at this point. But it's not a disadvantage, even though it looks like it. It's not a disadvantage. It's just a stress or a moment of transition and truth. It's also a time of learning. It's a learning curve. So when things that are unanticipated, unexpected should occur to you, whether provoked or not, just accept it as one of the lessons of life that God is about to take you on. It's a journey of learning. Even though, yes, again, remember, learning is not easy and it's not fun, just as discipline isn't, right? So when you're learning, you're under a level of stress of having to wake up in the morning, having to rush to the school, having to sit through when you're tired and sleepy, or your head is in a different space. You could, be very well fine doing something other than listening to the teacher or the lecturer teach. And on top of that, you have to now do some either in-class assignments, exercise, or you're left with a project, a team project, either personal project, individual project, team project, or some homework or some assignment. And sometimes it's either it's presentation or it's a written assignment, too much of writing, or it's research paper, research writing, or it's, did I mention team? Yeah, team assignment that you have to deal with people who may be very uncooperative because they're going through a lot of stress themselves. They can't even put words into it and explain things. And they know that that's not what you want to hear. So they don't even bother to share that. So everyone is working under a lot of stress and a lot of disappointment and a lot of unawareness or what have you, right? So it can be stressful. Now, let's take it back to the main point. When you are met with the travails of life that keeps you or leaves you divorced, separated, single-mothered, and then brings about all this trauma, what do? You can cry about it. When we are confused and don't know what else to do, what else happens? We just start crying, right? We just start sobbing. We just start bawling. We just start grieving. So the first thing you're going to do is accept that that's the reality now, your new reality, and then grieve it. You You can also be angry. I was angry when I flipped through the pages and chapters. I felt angry because there were many times that I swept things under the carpet. I endured a lot of things. I didn't speak up for myself. I didn't self-advocate. And I didn't do those things because I believed that they were helpful, that my inactions were helpful, right? My lack of reaction, proper reaction or response to the ideal occurrences, that they were helpful, that they were the smarter solution. Unfortunately, they weren't. They all failed me, and I felt like I failed myself. So I didn't put the blame on anyone. I just blamed myself because there are many times I could have advocated for myself. There are many times I could have stood up and stood my ground. There are many times I could have maybe looked after my own best interests, put my own interests forward and stand 10 toes on it. But I didn't. I didn't because I believe that back then, that if I had done those things, put my interest forward, stand 10 toes on it, reacted the appropriate way, advocating for myself, I believed that things were going to get bad, escalated, and worsened. That was what I believed. So instead, I stayed quiet, I stayed silent, I ignored many times, I overlooked many times, I endured many other times, I stayed silent as opposed to speaking up. And I felt also that my emotions was going to be articulating my verses, and I didn't want that, right? Because, now I'm pissed off, I'm picked or prickled, and if I had responded or reacted or said something, it might have come out the wrong way and people would have read me the wrong way. And that people is them, the perpetrators. Unfortunately, I made myself the victim and I stayed with the victim mindset. Within and without. So when everything crashed, I felt really bad, terrible, miserable within myself because I didn't have to let myself down like that. So now I still have to grapple with finding myself, becoming strong for myself, standing up for myself, changing my perspective on things and perception of things, becoming more articulate and articulative and advocating for myself and my own interests. Not only that, I will not have to carry the burden of the stigmatizing and the stigma of being a single mom. But I didn't feel terrible about the stigma or the name calling or the being a single mom because that's true. I'm a single mother. I'm doing it alone. And I wouldn't want to change anything about being a mother. Never. I know it's not easy. I know it's tough. I know many times you're left very broke, drained financially, mentally, physically. You're also set back. You're also like set behind. You feel stuck. You feel trapped. Yes, I would take that over being in something that I was being confused every turn, at every turn. So someone would even take it upon themselves to confuse me instead of making things clear to me, And the worst scenario that we ever find ourselves is like working at a job. They don't want you there. They don't want to fire you either because when they fire you, they're gonna be flogged with the consequences of firing you for no cause, which means they will pay you out, they will do this or that and the other, and it will go down in their record, right? So they don't want that. So what are they going to do with you? Whenever you come to work, they make your life miserable. They make your life a living hell. You have a problem with your coworker, you go to your manager or your supervisor or your senior, and they dismiss it. They don't do nothing about it, only because they want to demonstrate to you that they are fed up of you. They don't want you around. At the same time, that's the way when a man don't want you, they will not do anything to support your ideas, to maybe stand up for you, to make you happy. So if they know that them not coming home for the night will make you sad and miserable, they will stay out. They will stay away from coming home. If they know that if they don't call you through the day, because maybe you guys have this calling culture, right? They don't call you through the day, that you'll be miserable and sad. They will not call you through the day. So any duty of care, any responsibility, any accountability, any level of compassion that they should express towards you, they will withhold it, they will seize it, they will desist. And when that happens, they know that they are putting you in unnecessary stress, and they're making your life miserable, and they're making you very unhappy. So when you are in that situation where you're very unhappy, you're miserable, you're complaining, you're the only one who is complaining and nobody else. In fact, your complaint has made you to earn the title a nagging woman, that everybody now wants to stay away from you, because again, that's your daily reaction and communication pattern now, right? So the point is, I rather take being a single mom for exchange than, being a nagging woman. I wouldn't be a nagging woman. I would never let anybody make me a nagging woman. And I would rather not be miserable in my marriage, my relationship, my family, my home. I love peace, and peace is priceless. So I would rather go by the name and the title single mother. That title has not done any harm to anybody, at least much as I know. It hasn't done any harm to anybody. And I don't understand why you should be miserable about it. If that's your reality, even though you had a child out of marriage, out of wedlock, so what? Many married folks are not married. They are not traditionally married. They haven't paid their bride price. They are not religiously married. There's no church wedding or any kind of religious wedding or religious, would I say, blessings and ties and ceremony to mark their union. And so many of them at the same time, I'm talking about the same set of people, are also not civilly married. So they didn't go to court, they didn't go to registry. There is no documentation, tradition, nor religion that has celebrated both of them and pronounced them man and wife. So you are not any less than them. They are not any better than you. Just because they live within the same household and dealing with all manner of drama and fakery, don't mean nothing. They don't have nothing over you. Okay, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Stop feeling sad. Stop feeling miserable. Stop feeling like someone is insulting you or abusing you for calling you a single mother. Wear that title with all manner of pride. Listen, it's a blessing